could read and look in Bibles.
Okay.
We go slow anyway, right?
Oh yeah, that would have been good. Yeah, we're gonna put it up there and everybody can see. I don't know if you know.
No, no worries.
Good.
Just what's up, family? How's everybody doing? I heard Brooklyn was a little bit louder than that. I'm not sure what's going on here. Brooklyn, how you doing? Let's get a... Y'all must not be from Brooklyn. Is that what it is? All right, one more time. Let's make sure that the people in the buildings next door, across the street, can hear us today for the Father's Day Pledge, the 17th annual Father's Day Pledge. Let's make some noise for that. Okay, thank you all for coming out today. Juan and I have been, we organized this for 17 years now. And we also have a lot of pledge partners in the room too. We're gonna acknowledge everyone as we go along. But it took a long time to really organize this. So this is a response of like 4 to 5 days getting this location, and lucky enough we were able to get with Deacon Danny to bless us with this location, so we appreciate him. Let's give him a round of applause. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Quentin Walcott. My friends and family call me Q, so feel free to do the same. And we got Brother Juan up here. Juan and I don't want to age Juan, because I met him when I was a kid, and he was a lot of, no, I'm joking, but Juan and I go way back, even beyond this work. So it's a pleasure to be organizing this with my brother for so many years, and it makes sense. And Juan is of the community, that's why we're able to get a location like this. So let's shout out my brother Juan. And Juan is gonna take the mic and get us started.
Peace, everybody, peace. Again, I just want to thank St. John Lutheran for having us here, Deacon Danny. This church is not just a church that's hosting us today. This church has been a long-standing historical piece in this community for a very long time, going back even to the Underground Railroad when they were helping people escape here, right? So this church has a significance in this community, and I'm proud to be in this church today doing this work. And I also want to say that a lot of the work that we do in the neighborhood has been done in collaboration also with St. John, whether it be serving people food in our community, whether it be when the Wick Against Violence was just a thought in my head and doing little things, them opening up their doors to us. They did that for us. And we used to hold back to school backpack drives here for the kids in the community. So those things were what kind of were the catalyst to a lot of the work that we do today together in community. So I want to say thank you. As Q said, this is the 17th annual pledge. The pledge started some time ago. It was an idea that Q actually came up with because he wanted to make sure that as men we show up in community in the way we need to make sure that we stand against all types of violence in our community. And then some years back, he and I had a long conversation about also needing to break down silos that exist within violence in our communities, and those silos were specifically around gun violence and domestic violence. And we wanted to make sure that those two worlds met, because a lot of the people impacted by violence in those two worlds happen to be one and the same. And a lot of people don't see that that's what we deal with in our community. They like to point the finger and say that that's the issue. They like to point the finger and say that's how you resolve it, but they don't do anything to be in the weeds to really deal with the trauma that stands behind it, right? And a lot of the work that we all do here collectively really reflects that and reflects the work that needs to be done in order to truly do a holistic approach at stopping violence in our community. And that's what we've been trying to do for the last 17 years together. As he said, we met as young men actually around the work around ending police violence in a lot of ways. Way before there was, cop watching and all that stuff, we were out there marching and making sure we held police accountable. Shout out my brother Lumumba, who's also here, who was part of that with us back then. So as Q said, there's a lot of partners in the room. We're going to get to them as we go along. But again, we just want to make sure that you, especially as men today, kind of look around the room, because you can't always get a lot of men in the room who are doing good work in community, but you also can't get them in the room when they're committed to being not just good men in their families, but good men in their community. And if you ever get a chance to do so like you have today, get in contact, stay in contact, and make sure that you're able to support each other, because it's easier, like I said, to point the finger and say that's the problem than to say here's the solution and let's work together. All right? So Q, we're going to bring up the first speaker, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to introduce Deacon Danny. Sorry. So his current title is Deacon Danny, but I know that changed, so I'm going to let him say the title because it recently changed. But again, Deacon Danny is of the community. He and I started working together when we were introduced through the pastor who used to run this church many years ago. And Deacon Danny also was a part of our organization briefly when he was doing some of the work with us. And we continue to do that work for a long time. But what I want to say about him is he's from community, raised family in community, and he's still in community serving his church. He'll be the first one to tell you he ain't perfect, but he wants to show up and make sure that he helps everybody else who has slight imperfections in their life become the better their better self in their community. And that's what he's about. So I'm going to let him come up and have the opening prayer.
Thank you, everyone. Grace to you and peace in God, our Father, from our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Today we gather for something larger than an event, larger than a pledge, and larger than even ourselves. We gather because we believe that violence is not inevitable. We gather because we believe our families, our neighbors, and our city deserve something better. And we gather because we know that fathers have a unique and sacred responsibility in helping to lead the change. As we celebrate this Father's Day pledge against violence, I want to begin by honoring every father, grandfather, stepfather, mentor, uncle, coach, and every father figure present today. Fatherhood is just not biology. It's a calling. It's a daily decision to protect, to guide, and to teach and encourage and to love. Scripture reads us that we are called to be peacemakers, not merely be people who avoid conflict, but people who actively build peace. Peace in our homes, peace in our communities, peace in our hearts, and in our children. As fathers, we're called to lead by example. Our sons are watching us. Our daughters are watching us. They learn not only from what we say, but from how we live. They learn how to treat each other by watching how we treat others. They learn how to respond to anger by watching how we respond to anger. They learn that what strength looks like by watching us. And true strength is not found in violence. True strength is found in self-control. It's found in compassion. True strength is found in courage. The courage to break the cycles that have hurt generations. The courage to choose understanding over hatred. And the courage to stand up for what is right, even when it's difficult. Today I want to speak directly to the fathers of men gathered here. We are brothers to one another. We are called to stand together. We cannot leave the work of the building safer communities, not our communities, to politicians, police officers, schools, even churches. No, that responsibility is solely on us. Leading your homes, leading your neighborhoods, leading your conversations, leading by example. When fathers stand together for peace, communities change. When fathers stand together against violence, children see a different future. When fathers stand together and say, "Not on my watch," hope begins to grow. But we also recognize that none of this stands alone. God never intended fathers to carry the responsibility by themselves. We're blessed by the partnerships of mothers, grandmothers, sisters, aunts, and women throughout community. Strengthen and guide families every day. We honor them and we thank them. Their wisdom, sacrifice, and leadership are essential. The pledge is focused on fathers, but it's strengthened by the love and support of mothers. It is strengthened by the family standing together. It is strengthened by communities working together. Because ending violence is not man's work alone. It's community work. It is in God's work, and it requires all of us. Today, as we take the pledge, let it be more than words. Let it be a commitment to be present, a commitment to listen, a commitment to mentor, a commitment to protect, a commitment to choose peace when anger tempts us otherwise, a commitment to teach the next generation that dignity, respect, love are stronger than fear, hatred, and violence. My prayer is that for years now, our children and our grandchildren will look back and say that the fathers in the city stood up. The fathers chose courage over silence. That fathers became examples of peace, and that because they did, lives will change. May God bless every father here today. May God bless every family represented here. May God bless the work of the Father's Day Pledge against violence. And may God grant us the wisdom, strength, and courage to the peacemakers He is called to be. Thank you, and God bless.
One more time for Deacon Danny. Okay, we're going to get into the heart of the conversation today, but we're going to start off with a meditation from our young brother, Carlos from 100 Men Rising.
Peace, peace, peace. My name is Carlos. I organize under 100 Men Rising, a mission born and created 5 years ago at the Brides March, 26-year anti-violence march that happens every year, September 26, rain or shine. At this march, I also discovered the pledge. And so I've been taking this pledge for the last 5 years, and I have the honor to continue doing it until I'm a father and beyond. So I got invited here to do a little bit of grounding as we hear and experience these powerful messages today. So I invite you to take your hand to your heart. There's two things that connects everyone in this space, that connects our community, is our heartbeat and the breath. So feel your heartbeat. Know that our intention is to liberate people from violence, to stop and end violence. And let's take 3 collective breaths to ground ourselves in the moment and continue bringing ourselves into the space. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe in deep, filling your whole body, your whole temple, and hold the breath for 3, for 2, for 1, and release. Releasing tension and pressure, releasing everything it took for you to get here. Breathe in deep once more, breathing in peace and power and love and community, and hold the breath for 3 seconds, for 2 seconds, and release. And release any lingering tension, release any feelings that don't belong in this space right now. Last one, breathe in deep, deep, filling up your whole body, your whole temple with more air, and hold the breath for 3 seconds, for 2 seconds, and release. Release peace, release ease, and open up to the moment, open up to now. Peace and thank you.
All right, we're gonna bring up our first speaker. Doesn't really need a lot of introduction sometimes because people know his work in our communities and in the city. A brother to me in Q, Lumumba Bandelli, is best known for a lot of his work around ending, racial justice, but also police injustice is how we met, actually, making sure that we hold police accountable for how they sometimes come into our communities and hurt those that are most vulnerable at their most vulnerable time. So I want to bring up Lumumba Bandelli.
Peace, everybody. How y'all doing today? All right, it's good to see you. First of all, I want to salute and thank Q and Juan for the work that they've been doing for years. As they said, we were much younger, y'all. Much, much younger, doing work not only around police brutality, but also doing work to advance the awareness and freedom of people who were doing the work around police brutality and ended up being in prison because of that. People coming out of the Black Panther Party, people coming out of the macheteros, people coming out of the Black Liberation Army, freedom fighters. And so what we learned real quickly was that there is no difference between that struggle and the struggle to end violence in our homes and our community among ourselves. When we were doing our Cop Watch program in the 77th and 79th precinct, my organization, by the way, the Malcolm X grassroots movement, let me say that. We took video cameras starting in 2000, right after the murder of Amadou Diallo. A year after, we started patrolling the 77th and 79th precincts with lawyers, with Know Your Rights information, and we decided to just talk to people and figure out, well, why are y'all calling the police anyway? Very informal, very unscientific research, but we just decided to talk to people, and the number one reason we got was because of domestic violence. People were calling the police because of the violence that was happening in their homes. Immediately reached out to Q, reached out to Juan, and tried to figure out how we could begin to address some of those things, because if we're smart, we know that we would begin to eliminate the reasons that people would have to call the police in the first place. And so we began to do that, did some other internal work. Our organization now has workshops that we do for men, deconstructing patriarchy workshops. A lot of that training we got from Q. I'm also a professor at CUNY. Q's probably tired of me bringing my class to him every year to have him do these classes. But what we realize is the work has to happen in between events like this. Like, we have to really systematize what it means to deconstruct this kind of work. So I'm going to leave you just by saying that I commend you all for being here. Every time I see the violence interrupters, SOS, other folks in the streets, I stop you and say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I truly appreciate the work that y'all are doing. Much respect to Q and Juan and all of you for the work. Salute. Appreciate y'all.
One more time for Lumumba. I'm going to bring up, I'm going to put her on the spot too. I'm going to put her on the spot. Miss Erica Miller, she represents a strong body of people in our work, on the gun violence side and on the domestic violence side. She trains young students to be peer leaders and to become adult leaders in our work. So I want to bring on, and let's give Erica Miller a strong round of applause. She doesn't get the recognition that Juan and I get, so let's lift her up today.
Thank you. Hello. Me and Q known each other since we were babies in this work, and it has been my pleasure for more than 25 years being the rap coordinator at Truman High School. It's the Relationship Abuse Prevention Program, and I work with incredible young people. Some of them are here today. Carlos, one of my throwback alum, and my new baby's over here, representing Truman High School and Bronx Health Sciences. These are young people who know the mission. They understand the assignment to raise awareness of abuse, to promote healthy relationships and respect. We want our schools to be models of safety and inclusivity for everybody, and that they have the power as peers to model for their peers healthy relationships, healthy masculinity, healthy gender roles, being accepting of each other. And they don't only model that to their peers, they also model that to adults in their lives, whether it's their families, whether it's their educators, whether it's their coaches. Because young people have always had power in social movements for change, and I'm proud to be able to offer them that platform. And the Father's Day Pledge Against Violence is so vitally important because in this work, it has been mostly women who've been stepping up, and I've been so honored to work with Hugh, to work with Juan, to work with Ted Bunch, to work with Joe Samelin, like men over the years, including some of my alumni, Carlos, Alberry. It's like more and more men are getting involved, but we also need to see more men. I would love to see this church full of men. I would love to see the Brides March full of men. Being able to speak out against this violence and to be able to uphold that healthy manhood is not soft, like vulnerability is strength. And we need to teach the young ones that. And yeah, so always proud to be here, from the Bronx to the WIC.
Thanks, Erica Miller, again. So the next person coming up, everybody knows that every year we try to have some artists come up and do their thing, share their craft with us. The person I'm going to bring up is someone who has been with us for a very long time, multiple pledges, off the pledges, whatever's going on, he shows up. And he's just, he's big in stature, but his presence is also big. Ty Allen is that man who in his community will be involved in anything that matters and anything that makes sense. So I want to bring up Ty to do his thing with us.
This microphone, 1, 2, 1, 2, can you hear me? I probably need this microphone in the first place. First, can we clap for Q and for Juan, please? I saw on Facebook, it gives you like the history of what your life is like, things you don't like, things you do like, and I realized it was like since Friday, there's been a bunch of pledges on there. I think it's been about 11 or 12 I've been to. And usually if I'm in town, I'm here. So I want to say thank you for continuing, because consistency is a hard thing to do when you're trying to make change. So the fact that they've been consistent, not just on this day, but in their work as men, as community leaders, they continue to work toward a nonviolent solution for the communities that they support. So a clap for that as well, please. All right. I tried to memorize this, but I'm old, so it's hard to memorize things nowadays. So we'll do this. You don't want to talk about it. Oh, we talk about it. And when we chant, we know just what it is. Love is, love is, love is when you come back home. Love is, love is. Molasses and honey, hard chains and shackles. It is hard for villains to not move in twos. Their love for trinities is more of an oppression game. Coconut and rice fields, water fountains and jails. Best to remember, cops and robbers are born from the same rules. Property over people. Love is, love is, love is when you come back home. Arts, culture, and lessons. Whips, guns, and Jim Crow. Time will pass and everyone will forget. Just yesterday, your elders were stepping and fetching. future love and legacies, Bibles and burned books. What you read is really written by you. What you read is rarely written by you, for you, or with you. Let that sink in. Love is, love is, love is when you come back home. Father figures are not abstracts I conjure to feel good and fight good. My days and nights are full of micro and macros from at least two gods. They demanded obedience as the offerings and hit me with tools for building and living. The two measures of imperialists outlast the religious texts. My old men made it clear to ignore their good books, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. That ain't the lessons of change or might works for me and ours. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit in our hands means Father teaching Son how to use his Spirit to build freedom. Dad and goddad, mentors and brothers, big brothers, cousins, coaches, what I can accomplish will trace back to the gifts of the self-science. How I can love as a reflection of being born into the right space. Repeat this 3 times and you will dream different. What I can accomplish will trace back to the gifts of self-science. How I can love is a reflection of being home to the right place. Dad and goddad, mentors, big brothers, coaches, and friends, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit in our hands means Father teaching Son how to use his Spirit to build freedoms. Peace.
He was going to come up and announce our next speaker, but I just wanted to reflect on something that Lumumba said that he reminded me. You know, he always gives his shout outs to, you know, a lot of the violence interruption work that's being done in communities today. But I hope a lot of you heard what he said earlier, before he said that, which is that we all met as young people in our community at a time, but there was just as much violence. And that it was young people that stepped up in those communities to say no more to the violence and step up against the violence that they themselves at times were perpetrating. So the violence interruption work started in New York City back then, but it didn't have money tied to it. It didn't have grants tied to it. It only had love tied to it. It had those of us that wanted to be in our community, and we were tired of the violence that either we perpetrated ourselves or others were perpetrating in our community. And I say that to say, because if you're here and you do some kind of work to end violence, do that work because it matters to you. Do that work because it matters to your family. Do that work because it matters in your community. Don't just do it because it matters and it's tied to your paycheck. And the reason I say that is because when you do that work and you do that work thinking about building someone else up, the ego that lives in you will never take over you. You will be at peace.
One more time for Juan, always dropping it. And I just want to say that we're doing a Father's Day pledge. This is the first time we've ever done it after Father's Day. So the fact that you all are here, that's a great honor. And what we started right here in New York City around the Father's Day pledge is done in over 60 cities in the country. So a round of applause for that. And it's also done in Brazil. They have a different Father's Day date, but it's done in Brazil. It's done in Kenya. It's done in different parts of Africa. I'll put it that way. People are borrowing the language, adopting it to their populations and to their conditions, but essentially it's the same, right? So you should feel proud and honored about that as well. One of our speakers is supposed to come on. They're not here yet. So I'm going to ask Brother Bonafide to bless us with some more spoken art. And it's a good brother, good brother. I got to double check and make sure it's not his son because they look exactly the same.
Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you for being here. You could be anywhere else in the world, and you're in Brooklyn. I know it sounds sarcastic, but it's not. So I have a 22-year-old son, and you know, the irony for some of the gentlemen here is that they've known me since I was 17, so none of them can really grasp. Yes, you and Lumumba, yes, I've known you since I was 17. And, you know, I think the biggest journey we look at as parents is just how we have to be as fluid as they are with dealing with these adults now. You know, people who don't like pizza or the Yankees. And you're like, what? Like, how are you my child? As long as you're not a Republican, we're cool, but, you know, those are things, those are always things that I thought about when I was raising my son. So I'm gonna read this piece, it's a very new piece. It's called Writing a Self-Portrait While Trying to Figure Out How to Draw a Memory. I'm the actualized dream of a 17-year-old, a 47-year-old orphan, and father to an adult. I've had long hair longer than I can remember, and I didn't always have gray in my beard. I've heard everything from gunshots to guitar solos, serenades, and suicide pleas, seen eclipses shine, elections fail, sunrise in the rain, and sunsets on fire. Always wanted to walk in space, never on people's back, build a home, even plant a full moon in the sky. I wonder if these dreams are too big. Am I big enough, strong enough to reach them? I loved many things. Please don't ask me to rank them, though. But my son, pizza, and guitars are my loves. I pretend not to be miserable because happiness is a better feeling, but I feel if I try too hard to be happy, then it'll make me miserable. I touch dirt and water as a reminder of what was and what will be. I worry about how long this body will work with and for me. I'm a nine-tailed beast, a Kamehameha, a Bankai, all in one. I understand these things aren't true, but true enough to be desired. I say dead ass because I'm dead ass, like mad dead ass. And I say for real because I'm for real. And I understand not everyone will understand that because New York City vernacular is layered like the train system, a bit broken, but descriptive, emotional, and expansive. I dream about old man Rojas all the time and who he'll be and what will be that version I dream about every 20 years. I hope a lot, be as optimistic as I can be. Hope is the future. Hoping the future will be utopian and not dystopian the way it is now. There's something beautiful in tomorrow as it is in today. I've been dreaming for as long as I can remember. I'm a walk-off home run, a Hail Mary touchdown, a buzzer beater OT thriller, a 2026 New York Knicks championship. I don't know about you. Thank you. We've been suffering. I cry in the same song, in the same parts of the same movie, of the same show that I've watched with all of my heart for the last 40 years. So cry often because a good cry is healing. I worry about how long these eyes work. How long will these ears work? How long will this body work? I touch the sky right after the rain. When it clears, it's the most blue. I feel like this poem is trying to figure itself out or trying to figure me out. I'm trying to balance nature and city, pretending to not be a hawk in Washington Square Park. I am everything my mother dreamt and didn't want, and I blame my father for everything else. I want all the hard work, so it becomes all the beautiful work, necessary work, liberating work. I wonder if all the stars will burn out during my existence and see the night sky turn into a sheet of blackness. No space, nothing, no twinkle. I heard my dreams loud and clear. When I am awake, I never want to be deaf to them. I saw a different universe where the greatest moments of my life never happened, destroyed by not taking a chance. I'm the actualized dream of a former 17-year-old, the actualized dream of a 47-year-old, dreaming about who he'll be at 77 years old. Thank you. Now for my next magic trick.
One more time for Bonafide. So we just wanted to make sure that everybody's doing all right. Are y'all hungry? We actually got some food downstairs, and we're gonna bless that in a moment. Any announcements you want to make? Well, before you go on, just so you also know, tonight at 7 p.m. we're gonna have an online version of the pledge as well. So you all are invited to that. Hopefully you got the flyers and information with the link to that. Invite your friends, family, and it's going to be more of the national community that's going to be involved in that as well.
So as Q said, we have some food downstairs. Today is not just about having the pledge. Today is also about, as men, being able to break bread together and have conversations together, because, again, we don't often support each other in the way that we need to. We often are, more easily walking by each other, nodding our heads to each other, but we need to start loving each other as men, right? Because in our communities, too many of us don't get the support we need around the trauma that we live with. And, I know that word is a word nobody likes, but a lot of us live with trauma. And that trauma shows up in many different ways, in many different ways in which we act, many ways in which we show up to certain situations. And that's what we're trying to break down. We're trying to break down those walls and making sure that we deal with all trauma in our community. I'll leave it with this also, that the pledge, year after year, is done at different places. Is done in Borough Hall, is done in City Hall, mostly all the time. This year, because of FIFA and the Knicks, we couldn't get the steps of Borough Hall. That's why we're not there. But I think God works in mysterious ways, and we're here for a reason. Because there's also a lot of things happening in our community that are kind of like rooted in politics that don't always show up in the way they need to show up. And I think that community needs to start doing things in community so that they can move to our beat, not us move to their beat. And we just need to send that reminder that as community we can come together and do things for ourselves, and that our leaders are supposed to be representing that, not us having to represent their needs. So I just want to leave it there. We're going to do the Father's Day pledge. Now I'm going to ask Ralph to come up, and Zul's reminding me that some of you may have the signs, and we can hold up the signs. Raquel, where'd Raquel go? Who's doing the Spanish? Alex, come up. All right. If you guys scan the QR code on the signs, you can get the full pledge. We're going to do short versions of the pledge. I also want to say thank you to, today we took in, as an organization, we took in a day today for all the men in our organization to be here. So I want to thank all the men of Los Sures who are here. Our WIC team, our WIC Against Violence team, our Youth Service Coordination team, our Queen Safety Coalition team. Everybody's here today. I also want to thank our chairwoman who's here with us today, Maisha Morales. Also, I want to give a thanks because Deacon Danny opened up the doors for us, but I know he can't do anything without who I know to be the Teresas of the church, the two Teresas who help him run the church, so thank you. Q and I, we get a lot of attention during the pledge and leading up to the pledge, but the reality is that he and I both have two women in our lives that kind of make things happen. So I want to thank Raquel for me, and we want to thank Abnel also, that helps Q. So they're the ones that harass you for you to get here. They're the ones that make sure that all the things go out that need to go out to get people to show up, but also show up online, stay connected with us after this, right? So they do what they need to do for us in order for us to show up in the way we need to show up. But again, we're going to read the prayer, but I also want to take an opportunity to say to my brother Q, Q's had some up and downs recently with health, and I'm just glad to be standing next to you, brother. I love you. You're my brother. And it's just great to see him here, just doing this thing again, always out of love, right? Because there's no money, no grant attached to this. This is us saying we want to show up in our community as men, challenging other men to do better in our communities. And to all the men here, I thank you for doing that. So, Ralph. Ralph. So Ralph will start it off in English and then we'll switch it to the Spanish. Alex is going to try to do it in Spanish. Ralph is going to try to read it in English. There's no pun intended, but Ralph is going to do the short version of the prayer.
What's up, everybody? All right, guys. So we're going to do the Father's Day pledge. I'm going to do it in English. I'm going to do the short version, and which should be easy for me. We get to go. Just please follow my lead if you have it. If you do not have it on your phone, there's a QR code that's going around. There's also some papers. You can follow my lead. Okay? Let's get it. I pledge to take action to end domestic violence and all forms of violence. Domestic violence and all forms of violence with love and compassion and without judgment. Love and inspire our family, friends, and community. And support our brothers, sisters, and our youth in need of guidance. Work actively to engage men and boys to prevent and end violence. Never commit, condone, or remain silent about domestic violence, intimate violence, and violence in our homes, schools, and communities. Educate myself and others, and challenge abusive attitudes that condone disrespectful behavior or sexist and degrading language towards anybody. Thank you.
Gracias, Juan, para tenerme aquí en el frente, primera vez. Ok, como le dijo Rafi, por favor, enseguida me comprometo a tomar medidas para poner fin a la violencia doméstica y todas las formas de violencia. I'll do it again. Tomar medidas para poner fin a la violencia doméstica y todas las formas de violencia con amor, compasión y sin juzgar. Amar a inspirar a mi familia, amigos y comunidad. Apoyar a mis hermanos y la juventud necesitada de orientación. Trabajar activamente para involucrar a hombres y niños en la prevención y el fin de la violencia. Nunca cometer, aprobar o guardar silencio sobre la violencia doméstica, la violencia íntima y la violencia en nuestros hogares, escuelas y comunidades. Educarme a mí mismo y los demás y desafiar las actitudes abusivas, con toleran, que toleran, el compartimiento irrespetuosos y el lenguaje sexista y degradante hacia cualquier persona. Thank you.
So, thank you, brother. Let's hear it again for Alex. You really tried, guys. So, as we said, once Q gives the last word, when you go to the back, you're gonna go down the stairs to your right, and we have food downstairs and refreshments and things like that. Again, let's break some bread and get to know each other. All right.
Oh, one more time for Brother Juan. And I want to thank all the speakers and artists for coming and blessing us with their talent, their values, and their passion for this work. So one more time for the artists and speakers. There's a couple of other behind-the-scenes folks. We got Angie doing photography. We got Brother Quasi doing photography. And any of you that are taking pictures or posting, please use the hashtag FPDAV17 and post it on your social media so we can all have access to it. And once again, on behalf of my organization, Connect, we got Brother Marlon here. Marlon, stand up, please. Another longtime warrior doing this work with men. And the key link between gun violence and domestic violence is not just that folks who deal with domestic violence may use a gun or a weapon. It's the fact that young children who witness violence in the home are more apt to be involved with gun violence. So we have to make that connection and realize that, so the work is the same. The primary conditions that exist that create gun violence and domestic violence are the same. So we have to continue to work on those issues together, because you cannot deal and solve gun violence without dealing with domestic violence. And we have to continue to work with men and give men the help that they need and the resources that they need to change their attitudes, belief systems, and their behavior. So we're going to continue to do that work. We're going to be allies in this work, cross movements and cross issues, but men and women working together. That's the most important thing. Even on Father's Day, we do our work for the young people in our lives, for the women in our lives, and ourselves as well. We only change when we change ourselves. Peace, everyone. Thank you for coming out today. And like Juan mentioned, we have food downstairs, and there's bathrooms downstairs as well. Walk out towards the door to your right and down the stairs.